Good morning, Calvary. It's great to have you here with us this morning. It's beautiful, sunny, I think.
It is sunny. Morning. Technically, it is sunny.
So I'm Matt. I'm joined today with my good friend James.
Yeah,
right
it's
here.
good to see everyone. Welcome to Calvary Online.
Yeah, so it's sunny, but it's very, very cold.
I feel like I've been gone for a little bit, but this feels like the first big okay, it's winter. It's feeling like winter out here.
But it's still fall. I
mean,
But it's winter.
It's the Midwest fall that it's fall. It just happens to also be winter.
I think it's way too early.
This morning I tried to be a good husband. I told my wife, hey, before you go to work, I'll go start the car and I'll scrape the ice off. And I could not find the ice scraper. The first time I needed it this year. So good old trusty debit card came out and just used the scraper.
Always does the trick.
It really always does. I don't even know why the scraper was ever invented when we have debit cards.
It's a waste of money.
It's all about the angle.
It is.
It's really all about the angle, and then you just got to.
And then hoping that you don't break your debit card.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
I usually actually use. I think this morning I used like an older card that I was like, I don't even think this card works. So that was the plan.
Well, hey, like I said, we're glad that you're here with us this morning. Why don't you go ahead and say hello in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from this morning. And you can also let us know that you're watching online in our app.
Yeah.
If you go into the Calvary app in our dashboard, it lets you say, hey, I'm watching online. You can do that today too as well. So, James, the Calvary app.
Yeah.
Are you a fan?
I am a fan. Actually, there's it's the checking in on Sunday mornings is super easy no matter where you're watching. Just pull it up and it'll just be like, hey, where are you watching from this morning? And then you can do that. But also the app is kind of tailored to your own experience. So maybe what it looks like for you will be a little different for me. But I love that one of the first things it asks me at least is like, what do I want to learn more about? We've been talking a lot about the rhythms and how to stay in rhythm with Jesus and what that looks like. And so of gather, connecting, grow, sharing, and giving. And so like to be able to do that together, you can kind of click those things and it gives you some more ways to be able to do that. And so it's just a great place to be able to find more information.
Right. And that's all right in the dashboard section of our app. It's easy to get it started if you've not done it already. The great thing is, like you said, it's tailored to me. And so my dashboard will look different than your dashboard because just the ways that we can get involved here at Calvary, the rhythms that we can practice. And so check that out. You can download it anywhere you download your apps for your phone.
Oh, yeah.
And you can also access it on our website as well, calvary.ch. So, so it's Thanksgiving season.
Oh, my goodness,
and,
It's already Christmas.
It
feels like the run up. I don't know who decided to put Thanksgiving and Christmas so close together. We really should have had more spacing because it feels like when it's all together. Because you were telling me earlier this morning you put up the tree already.
We've put it up. It's up. It's a pre-lit. It's artificial.
Okay, yeah.
But there's nothing on it, so it's
you hang ornaments later.
We'll hang the ornaments here in the coming weeks.
Okay,
so,
but the big.
It's just like a gradual process. The decoration. It doesn't all go out.
Sure.
At once.
Yeah, I mean, like I live close to downtown Papillion. They put lights up on those trees like a month ago
Yeah.
because it takes a long time to do it. But you guys did. Your kids did lights outside on the house too.
My
What a
youngest
good deal.
two were putting the lights.
What
up
a good
on the
reason to
house.
have kids.
I didn't have to go out there in the cold. And do it. They
That's
did
why
it
you
for
have
me.
kids, is so they can go out and do the
Exactly.
things you don't want to do.
It's finally
Life
paying
hack.
off.
Yeah, it's
They're old
finally-
enough where they can.
Yeah, it's also we need to let it know that they are safe. They are old enough that it is
Yes,
it is a safe
yes,
thing. He doesn't
yes.
have like a 4-year-old up
Right,
there.
right,
Okay,
right. Climbing the ladder
But
on
when
the
you
roof,
did
so-
have a 4-year-old, but they had climbing gear, so it's really was like
Exactly.
they're strapped in. So no, I'm just
So
kidding.
we're all
that
good.
did not happen.
We're all good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, it's coming quickly.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a great,
Yeah.
I think, a great season. A great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Thanksgiving's fun, and
Yeah.
it's like we have this week, and then the next week is Thanksgiving week,
Right.
and then right after that is Christmas. So we have a cool tradition with some friends that we go to. They moved away, so it makes it harder, but we go get a real Christmas tree every year together. So we've made 2 years of investment going to Des Moines, so they owe us a couple years, so they're going to come here this year. So we do that first week in December, but we are those people. We'll go to like mid-January, whenever the tree
of
starts
course.
to die. That
Okay.
we love having it on for a long time.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
yeah.
So, well, our service is going to begin here in just a
Yeah,
few moments.
let's do it.
And we've got a great service this morning. The worship team has put together some great songs of worship. So stand up, sing loud where you're at,
Yeah.
and be a part of worship. We're also going to celebrate communion together. So right now is a great opportunity for you to grab some crackers and juice if you have those, or some toast and tea. I've got my tea right here. You know, whatever
yeah.
you have around the house, you can you can use to remember the sacrifice of Jesus. As we do that together this morning, we'll be led in a time of communion.
Yeah.
And then Ryan's going to be bringing our message this morning. We're in our series called Tremors, just all about our finances and you know God's plan for that, and
Yeah.
how we can live in sync with God in terms of our finances. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be a great service today. So
Yeah, I missed last week, so I need to go back this week, and you can do that on the app too. Another great
Right.
reason to get the app.
Right.
You can go back and listen to some past sermons and things like that. And so I'll be doing that this week, but I'm excited to jump in this week with as well.
Yeah. So the service is gonna begin here. So
Let's do it.
yeah, let's worship together. We're glad that you're here.
Hey, good morning, Calvary. Thanks for joining us today. Go ahead and stand up and let's worship together.
In the morning when the sun is rising, another day to tell of all your kindness. When I think of your goodness, so I sing for joy and I speak your name. And in the evening when the night is falling, when trouble's rising, I can't hear you calling. I don't have to worry, I won't be afraid. I speak the name, yeah. Speak the name that has power. Speak
so much for worshiping with us. Go ahead and have a seat.
Well, good morning. You know, I was reading in my reading plan this week, and I came across a familiar passage where Jesus is gathered with his disciples, and this would ultimately be their last meal together. And I was reading this passage again for, I don't know, probably like the billionth time since becoming a follower of Jesus. And sometimes you get to that moment where you're like, yeah, I mean, I've heard this before, I've read it before. But this time, something kind of struck me a little bit about the passage. I'm going to read it to you. It's Matthew 26, 26 through 29. And it says, while they were eating, Jesus took bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke it and gave it to his disciples, saying, take and eat, this is my body. Then he took a cup, and when he had given thanks, he gave it to them, saying, drink from it, all of you. This is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. I tell you, I will not drink from this fruit of the vine from now on until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. And it's that moment and the ones that would follow that ultimately bring us to this moment where we have an opportunity to gather together at this table for this same meal. You know, we're gathered as a body of believers to remember what Jesus did for us. What would happen next was he would be led to the cross where he would suffer and die on our behalf. And man, I just was reminded that day what a gift we've been given in Jesus. And here's what I know, that today as we take communion, as we take this meal, it may not taste like much. And some of you, there's some amens out there. I heard it, or if not, I felt it. But this is the best feast, the best meal that we will experience on this side of eternity. It's the most privileged meal in all of creation. It helps us remember what Jesus did. It marks us as God's children and helps our forgetful hearts be reminded that his body was broken and his blood was poured out on our behalf. And I know I need this reminder, and I'm certain in a room like this that I'm not alone. So let's celebrate his sacrifice as we remember. So I'm gonna pray and then give you an opportunity to take communion together as we remember the sacrifice that Jesus made, the broken body, the shed blood that covered our sins and allowed us to be part of his family forever. God, we love you. We thank you so much for who you are. We thank you, God, for how much you loved us, that you would send your son as a sacrifice, that his blood would be poured out on our behalf so that we could be reconciled into a life-giving relationship with you. And God, I pray that we would never forget that. We would not take it for granted. We would not take it lightly. But we would come to this table with humility and gratitude and just thank you, God, for all you've done for us. First and foremost, that you called us, that you chose us. So we love you. It's in your name that we pray. Amen.
Our mission is to live and love like Jesus. One way we do this is by giving $1 extra to help those in our community know and feel the love of Christ. We call this 1 for 1. Last week, our offering went to a young mother with a 3-year-old who recently left a domestic abuse situation. She is struggling to make ends meet to provide for herself and her child. Our dollars will go towards relieving some of her financial needs and to show her that there is a God who cares deeply for them. Because of your generosity, here's what we were able to bless them with. This week's 1 for 1 was nominated through Calvary Bellevue South for a man who recently received a kidney transplant with his wife as the donor. In his recovery, he is dealing with lingering effects and health concerns, resulting in additional significant medical expenses. Our dollars will go towards relieving the financial strain from these medical bills and to show him there is a God who loves him and cares for him. Thank you for giving to the 1 for 1. When we give, we are working together to reach one life at a time.
Well, good morning. How are we doing? Are you doing all right? Yeah. I woke up this morning, and I don't know about you. I don't know where you find yourself today. If you're over at Shadow Lake or over at North today, you're online, Heritage Ridge, Cozad, wherever you are today, right here at South. I don't know, when you woke up today and you walked out to your car and you had to defrost your car, how many of you had to sit in your car for longer than about 5 minutes in your car? Few of you did. How many of you have a garage and you're like, I don't know what you're talking about, sir? Yeah, I don't like you guys. I don't like you guys at all. My car sits outside. It was freezing this morning, absolutely freezing this morning. But I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that you're at any of our locations today, wherever you're at today, wherever you find yourself. We are super glad that we get to be together today, that we get to gather together to align our hearts to God and our lives to his mission. I want to tell you a couple quick things, then we'll jump in. First thing, tonight, everybody say tonight. Tonight at 5 o'clock, we've got our next all-in meeting. All-in is an opportunity for you to come. If you call Calvary home, if Calvary is your church, we want to invite you tonight, 5 o'clock. Do not miss it. We're going to talk Christmas. We're going to talk Impact Fund. It's kind of a preview to a lot of what we're doing over the course of the next year. We're going to talk about our sermon series for the next year. You're going to want to come and participate in that. We've got cookies. We've got some drinks for you. We've got childcare. It's kind of like a date, right? And so come and enjoy that with us tonight. That's at 5 o'clock tonight. Then next week, everybody say next week, November 20th, we've got worship night. We've got an opportunity where we get to gather together and just worship. And I hope that you will at least make this a priority for you to come and to worship with us. It's going to be at Bellevue South. It's going to be at 6:30, I believe it is. Yeah, 6:30. So please come for that. It's going to be a night of gratitude. We're just going to thank God for all that he gives us and all that he blesses us with. And so want to make sure that you would make that a priority. That's next week. So be sure to mark that on your calendar. I'm going to pray and we're going to dive in today. Let's pray. God, I thank you. I thank you for today. And I thank you for the words that you put on my heart. And God, I pray that today, as we talk about money, that God, we would do so with open hands, that we would do so with open hearts and open minds, that God, as we talk about just the way that we view finances, that it wouldn't be something that we would have defenses go up, but rather we would lean in to what you would have in store for us as individuals and followers of you. God, we love you. We thank you. In your name we pray. Amen. Well, we're back in this series called Tremors. And the idea behind this series is that we're talking about surviving an economic earthquake. That a lot of times when it comes to our finances, what happens is we begin to have walls go up when it comes to the church world when we talk about finances. We like to talk about money in a lot of other contexts, right? We talk about it we watch it on television shows. We listen to music about it. When it comes to the church world, every time we begin to talk about money, you begin to allow walls to go up. I begin to allow walls to go up, defenses go up, and we get super protective. We get uncomfortable because we think that the church just wants all my money. But I want to kind of tell you about some fundamental misunderstandings when it comes to money. See, if our money could talk, and if our money could give us financial advice, we wouldn't be shocked, we wouldn't be surprised at the financial advice that our money gives us. In fact, we might be more shocked at the parallels between what Jesus said about money and if our money could actually give us financial advice. See, you read through the Gospels. The Gospels are Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. They're the stories of Jesus. They're the life of Jesus, beginning to end of his time on this earth. And as you read through the Gospels, what you find is that Jesus talks more about money than he does about heaven or hell. In fact, 16 of the 38 parables, there's 38 stories Jesus tells. He says, this is who I am. This is who my Father is. This is what the kingdom's about. That's a parable. He tells a story about a parable. 16 of the 38 have to do with money or possessions. Why does he talk so much about money and so little about heaven, if you will? Here's the thought. Perhaps the reason Jesus talks so much about money is for some people, hearing the words, there is no money, is worse news than there is no heaven. In fact, Timothy says it this way. In 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10, it says, for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Some people eager for money have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. So the love of money is the root of all evil. See, money is very neutral. If we were true to talk about money, money is very neutral. There's nothing magical about money. It's neutral, kind of like fire is neutral. Fire can either warm you when it's cold or it can consume you if out of control. And the reason this is so important, the reason we're spending 3 weeks talking about the way that we view money is because money has the potential to become the God substitute in our life. Money becomes the thing that we were supposed to allow God to do for us. See, when you look at money, when you view money, a lot of us view it 3 different ways, one of 3 ways. Some of us, we view money as safety. It's safety, being able to deal with the uncertainties that may come. And so when I have money, I can feel safe. Others of us, we view money as freedom. You have the option, the availability to do other things. If you've got money, you've got some freedom to do some things. For others, it's connected to success. When I have money, I'm successful. My network is connected to my self-worth, right? Like that's kind of the way that it works. And so if you were just to be honest with yourself, which one of those three do you see money as? Do you see money as safety? Do you see money as freedom? Or do you see money connected with success? Which one of those three do you see yourself? If you could just be honest with yourself and just say, hey, I see money as success. I see money as safety. I see money as freedom. Which one of those is it? Because here's the truth. Only God can give you safety. Only God can give you security. Money can give us freedom, but a lot of people have become slaves to debts pursuing that freedom. God is the only one that can set you free. God is the only one who can give you the availability. God is the only one that can give you the freedom. God is the only one that can do those things that we see money as. I've heard it said this way. Money can add meaning to your life, but it's not the meaning of your life. It can add meaning to your life, but it's not the meaning of your life. And so many of us, we chase money like it is the meaning of our life. In fact, Jesus is going to talk about it. We're going to look at a parable today from Matthew chapter 25. So if you got your Bible, go ahead and open up to Matthew chapter 25. And he's going to talk about this idea of he's entrusted all of us with finances. He's entrusted all of us with time, with abilities, with treasure. He's entrusted all of us with lots of different things. And the real question I want you to ask yourself today is this: what have you done with what he's entrusted you? What have you done with your resources? What have you done with your time? What have you done with your money? What have you done with your effort? What have you done with all of the things that God has entrusted you with? It's a long parable, so I'd like you to stay with me, if you will. We're going to look at quite a few verses today. Matthew chapter 25, we're going to start in verse 14, and we're going to go all the way through verse 30. Can you hang on? Some of you can hang. I heard a sure, so we're going to try with that person. All right, so here we go. It's called the parable of the bags of gold. It says this: again, it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted his wealth to them. To one, he gave 5 bags of gold, to another 2 bags, and to another 1 bag, each according to his ability. Don't miss that. Then he went on his journey. The man who received 5 bags of gold went at once and put his money to work, and he gained 5 bags more. So also the one with 2 bags gained 2 bags more. But the man who received 1 bag went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants returned and settled accounts with them. The man who had received 5 bags of gold brought the other 5. Master, he said, you entrusted me with 5 bags of gold. See, I gained you 5 more. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful with a few things. I'll put you in charge of many things. Come and share in your master's happiness. The man with 2 bags of gold also came. Master, he said, you entrust me with 2 bags of gold. See, I gained 2 more. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful with a few things. I'll put you in charge of many things. Come and share in your master's happiness. Then the man who received 1 bag of gold came. Master, he said, I knew you were a hard man, harvesting where you had not sown and gather where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid, and I went out and I hid your gold in the ground. See, here is what belongs to you. His master replied, you wicked, lazy servant. So you knew that I harvest where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered seed. Well, then you should have put my money on deposit with the bankers so that when I returned, I would have received it back with interest. So take the bags of gold from him and give it to the one who has 10 bags. For who has been given more, they'll receive an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them. And throw this worthless servant outside into the darkness where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So let's set it up, okay? A lot of reading, okay? I get that. Maybe you hung on, maybe you didn't. If you didn't, we're going to talk through it, okay? So you've got this master, okay? This master has lots of money, obviously. He's got enough money that he's getting ready to go on a journey. And as he's getting ready to go on a journey, he calls 3 servants and says, I'm going to entrust you based on your ability, based on what I think you're worth. I'm going to give you these things. Based on your ability to grow my investment, the return of investment, I'm going to give you some bags of gold. And so he's got this one guy, we'll call him Bob, okay? Everybody say Bob? 1 bag Bob, okay? 1 bag Bob shows up, and he goes, hey, 1 bag Bob, you know what? I'm going to entrust you. I'm going to entrust you with 1 bag of gold. You're 1 bag Bob. And I would imagine that 1 bag Bob probably felt pretty good about himself. He's like, all right, I got a bag of gold. The rest of the servants didn't get a bag of gold. I'm the only one that got a bag of gold. And then he runs into two-bag Tom. And two-bag Tom's like, how many bags you get? I got one. How many bags you get? I got two. And one-bag Bob's starting to feel bad about it, right? And two-bag Tom, he's feeling pretty good. He's like, all right, I got 2 bags. And me and Bob, we each got some bags of gold. We're good until they meet 5-bag Frank. 5-bag Frank's like, how many bags you got? I got 5. And then he leaves. So you got 1-bag Bob, 2-bag Tom, 5-bag Frank. The master leaves. And he goes on a long journey, the Bible says. The Bible says he comes back. And what happened? 5-bag Frank, what did he do? He doubled his investment. 5-bag Frank now has 10 bags. 2-bag Tom, he now has 4 bags. 1-bag Bob, what did he do? He buried it. 1-bag Bob did nothing with the bag of gold. Did absolutely nothing. He buried it in the ground, didn't even take it to the bank, didn't even let the investment grow. He just buried it in the ground. And church, I got to tell you, I read this story so many times this week that I start to feel bad for 1-bag Bob. He only got 1 bag. Until I start reading some commentaries. You know how much 1 bag of gold actually was? It's a talent. So there's some currency stuff we got to figure out and work through all of that. It's $1 million. 1 bag, 1 talent is $1 million. Now, I don't know if $1 million is a lot to you. It's a lot to me. If you were to say, hey, Ryan, would you like $1 million today? I'd be like, you know what? I don't have a Cash App or a Venmo, but I will set one up for you. Here, you Venmo me, you Cash App me, you give me $1 million. Like, how many of you today, if given the opportunity, were given $1 million, how many of you go, like, I'll probably take that by show of hands? If your hand's not up, you are a liar. Absolutely. Every single one of us would say, absolutely, I would take that. And 1-bag Bob goes and buries the gold in the ground and says, I'm not going to touch it until the master comes home. And then the master comes home. And I just got to play this out a minute. 5-bag Frank, he's like, I got 10 bags, and he's marching back. 2-bag Tom, he's got 4 now, he's marching back. And I got to imagine that 1-bag Bob is like digging it up going, where did I put this? Where did I? Like, it's $1 million in the ground. He picks it up, takes it back to the master and says, here, I knew you were a hard man. I knew that you were a hard man. And so I didn't want to lose any of your money, so I'm bringing it back to you. See, here's the question I want us to wrestle with today. What have you done with what you've been given? All of us have been given stuff. Time, energy, we can talk only finances. If this was just finances, we could talk only finances, that God has entrusted us with finances. Because we have jobs, because we have ways of earning a living, that God has entrusted us with finances. But it's more than that. He's entrusted us with time. He's entrusted us with lots of responsibility on this earth. He's entrusted us with lots of stuff. So what have you done personally? What have you done with what he's entrusted you with? Are you making a return of investment on the things that he's given you? Or are you saying, you know what, I'm just going to sit on it for a while? See, and there's a temptation, isn't there, to hear this story of 1-bag Bob, and there's a temptation for us to feel exempt from accountability. Well, Ryan, you don't understand the financial situation I'm in. And so because of that, I'm out on this whole thing. But hear me say this, you're wealthy. Whether you agree, whether you know it or not, you are wealthy. Just by living in the United States of America, you're wealthy. For example, if you live at the poverty level, your entire lifetime you lived at the poverty level. If you lived until the age of 73 and worked until the age of 65, you would have been entrusted with $500,000 over your lifetime. Over your lifetime, over $500,000 has been entrusted to you. If you make the household median income, okay, the household income of $40,000 a year, you would have been entrusted with over $2 million in your lifetime. The point is this, we're blessed. And God's gonna conduct an audit to ask you that question. What have you done with what I've given you? The reason I asked the question about the garage earlier is because some of us, we have a space in our house that holds a car. Don't miss that. There are places that don't have cars. There are places that don't have houses. And we have a place in our house that holds a car. We've got extra room. In case someone were to come and stay at our house, we've got extra rooms in our houses with beds ready to go, just in case somebody were to come. We got leftover food in our fridge that no one's going to eat, but it's there. We got drinking water. We've got so many things to be blessed for. What have you done with what he's given you? God entrusts us, so what have you done with it? See, if you plant corn, don't be surprised if corn grows. If you do nothing like this man that did nothing, don't be surprised if mud grows. We have to be people who utilize the gifts and the abilities and the talents that God's given us to grow his investment that he has given us. The owner, he commends the 5-bag owner, right? 5-bag Frank, he says, you know what? Come and share in your master's happiness. 2-bag Tom, he ends up saying, hey, come and share in your master's happiness. But what does he do with the 1-bag guy? He says, you're lazy and you're wicked. See, the thing is when we talk about money in church, oftentimes what happens is we start thinking that the pastor is just saying that money is bad. That's not it at all. In fact, Jesus commends the guys for working hard. It's not bad to have ambition unless it's uncontrolled. I heard a statement this past week, hey, work until your bank account looks like a phone number. Work until your bank account looks like a phone number. In fact, I saw someone's bank account this week that looked like a phone number. Check this out. Don't think that's what they meant. Am I doing the right things with what God has given me? Am I doing the right things with what God has given me? Here's what I'm doing. I want to do an exercise today, okay? Everybody gets to do an exercise today. I want everybody right now, wherever you find yourself, okay? So over at North, right here at South, Shadow Lake, Heritage Ridge, Cozad, wherever you find yourself today, I want you to make a fist, okay? Everybody make a fist, all right? We're going to put 60 seconds on the clock, okay? 60 seconds on the clock, and I want you to squeeze really tightly for the next 60 seconds. So if we can get 60 seconds on the clock, we're gonna squeeze as tight as we possibly can. And I'm gonna actually help you to squeeze really tight as we do this, okay? I'm gonna help you. I'm a Michigan fan, okay? How many of you watched the game yesterday? Yeah, a few of you watched the game yesterday. A few of you have given up, and that's fair. I'm gonna help you make a tighter fist with this, okay? As a Michigan fan, the refs missed some incredible calls yesterday. Okay, they missed some incredible calls yesterday. It should have been a touchback. That touchdown that happened should have been touched. So some of you are like, oh yeah, now I'm angry. Now I'm getting angry, okay? So keep that fist, keep that fist. We're gonna go for 60 seconds with this fist, all right? Make it, if you gotta think about like an ex-boyfriend or an ex-girlfriend to make a tight fist, do that. Whatever you gotta do, okay? I want a tight fist for the next 40 seconds, all right? All right? Here's the thing. That game yesterday, Michigan won, obviously, but there was a couple missed calls in that game, and that's fine. Hopefully this is helping you create a tighter fist with this. Now, we're going to actually skip ahead, okay? We've gone a little bit longer than what the clock says because we made the fist a little bit earlier, okay? So here's what I want you to do. Everybody on the count of three, we're going to open up as slowly as we possibly can our hand, okay? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird how stiff your hand can actually get? See, that's the posture that so many of us have when it comes to finances specifically. I've seen people shake them out. Okay, here's what we're gonna do, okay? I'll get back to it. We're gonna do a knuckle pop on 3, okay? Because everybody needs to, I know you need to, okay? On the count of 3, we're gonna do one big knuckle pop. 1, 2, 3. Oh. That's fun. Someone's gonna ask you, what did you talk about in church yesterday? Well, we talked about money, and then there was this weird knuckle pop, and it was great. But isn't it weird, though? Like, your hands were incredibly stiff right then. But those are the two postures that a lot of us have when it comes to money. The postures some of us have when it comes to money is we are open-handed or we're tight-fisted. We're closed-fisted. And when an earthquake hits, when a tremor hits, what happens is so many of us, we hold on for dear life. We're white-knuckling it because we don't know when it's going to end. And some of us, we feel like we're in that posture right now because of the financial situation we find ourselves in right now. Some of you, it's been the past. Some of you, it's the past recession. Whatever it might be, you've just been closed-fisted and closed-fisted, closed-fisted because you don't know. You got to hold on to everything that's yours, and you can't be open-handed with it because you just got to have it. Solomon talks about this. In Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 10, Solomon says this. It says, whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income. Solomon's not saying that money is bad. He's not saying that we shouldn't even try to increase our income. He's saying whoever loves it is greedy. And greed is literally a desire for more. See, greed is the assumption that it's all for me. If it's placed in my hands, it's mine. If it's part of the paycheck, it's all for me. If it's part of the bank account, it's all for me. If it's part of my inheritance, it's all for me. But greed has nothing to do with the amount of money that you have. You can be greedy and poor. You can be greedy and rich. You can be greedy and middle class. Solomon says, if you love money, you'll never have enough. You'll never be satisfied. And then he goes on, verse 11. He says, as goods increase, so do those who consume them. What benefit are they to the owners except to feast their eyes on them? You ever feel that way? That as goods increase, it just kind of is spent. As you get more money, it's just spent and it's spent and it's spent. As soon as you start to build a cushion, the water heater goes out. As soon as you start to build a cushion, the transmission on your car goes out. As soon as you start to build up a cushion, the kids need stuff for school, or you need to stock up on toilet paper, or whatever it might be, right? See, most of us, if we went back 20 years, you went back 20 years and you said, this is how much you're going to make in 20 years. Most of us would say, man, if that's how much I make in 20 years, I'm not going to be in debt and I'm going to be worry-free. And here you are 20 years later. Maybe you're not in debt, but we live a worried life. That's a clenched fist kind of life. The moment that we continue to keep the fist closed is the moment that we don't invite God into our finances. Could it be the reason that you have so much tension in your life when it comes to your finances is because you've held on so tightly? See, the world tells us we're consumers. Everything you see on commercials, everything you get in the mail, everything you see, it's all about you're a consumer, you're a consumer, you're a consumer. But if we learn anything from Matthew chapter 25, we're not consumers, we're managers. We're managers of what God has entrusted us with. And so how do we live an open-handed life when it comes to our finances? Here's how we do that. We do that by learning the lessons of less. We learn to live on less. We learn the lessons of less. How many of you would call yourself frugal? Just out of curiosity, show of hands, who's frugal and proud of it? Frugal and proud of it, right? Okay, cool. Seeing some of you. Here's the really cool part about that. Most of the hands that went up were hands, and then their spouse or significant other sitting next to them did not go up. That's my household. That's my house. My wife is frugal beyond a shadow of a doubt. I am not. I'm a spender, and she has to tell me that I'm a spender, and it's just kind of a whole thing often where I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that I spent that much money on Christmas tree cakes, which, by the way, are phenomenal, and they're back. But, amen, right? But it's one of those things where oftentimes people are like, I'm frugal, and I'm proud of it, and you drive around, and you look around, and you see other people, and you see their shopping cart, and you're like, they're wasting so much money. Right? And that's kind of the way frugal people look at life. But there is a difference, isn't there, between being frugal and cheap? It's a huge difference. I mean, if you've ever taken a paper plate and washed it after you've used it and put it back, you are not frugal. You are very cheap. If you've ever bought 2-ply toilet paper and made 2 1-ply rolls of toilet paper, you were a genius during COVID, but you are not frugal. If on your anniversary you go to the card store with your significant other and you read cards to each other and then you put them back and you walk out of the store, you are not frugal. You are cheap. But we need to be people who live frugal lives. We need to be people who live open-handed to learn the lessons of less. See, most of us, the barrier from going from this to this, we think it's greed, but it's not. It's actually fear. Fear that I won't have enough. Fear that God won't provide. And I'm not saying that money is bad, and I'm not saying we shouldn't pursue money. See, because here's the thing. If you got 99 problems, money will fix 72 of them. Money buys food. Money pays rent. Money pays mortgages. It buys medicine, gas, clothes, pays the bills. But living open-handed teaches us all the things that money can't buy. Money can't buy honor. Money can't buy a reputation. Money can't make you generous. Money can't make you kind. Money can't make you good or even good with money. Money can't make you a good parent. Money can't make you a good kid. Can't grow your faith. Can't give you peace. No matter how much money you save, money can never save you. See, only God can give you peace. Only God can give you joy. Only God can give you purpose. Only God can secure your future. We need to be people who live open-handed. We need to be people who invite God into our finances and say, God, I'm just a manager of all that you've entrusted me with. I'm acknowledging that you are the provider, that you are the owner, that you're in charge. And so I'm willing and I'm able to come open-handed before you to say, what would you have me do? How would you have me live? What I love about this story, this parable that Jesus talks about, It says, hey, come share in your master's happiness. Those that had the return of investment, those that said, hey, I'm willing to work for you. I'm willing to ask you what you would have me do for this. They're the ones that get to share in the master's happiness. My hope is that as we continue to talk about money this week and next week, that you would come open-handed before God and say, God, I want to deepen my trust in you, so I'm willing to trust you with this. I'm willing to manage what you have entrusted me with. And so, God, here you go. Whatever it is, however you want me to live my life, with my finances, with my time, with my effort, with my energy, it's yours. And church, I wish I could tell you that all of my life, I've had this down. All of my life, I've always lived open-handed with God with all of my stuff, my finances, my sin, my shame, my guilt, my pain, all of it. But I have not. I wish I could tell you that was the case. But the moment that my wife and I really made that commitment in our life to say, first and foremost, we're going to give to God. First and foremost, didn't matter if we were behind on bills, which we were. Didn't matter if electricity got shut off in our house, which it did. Didn't matter if we got behind on a payment, which we did. We're going to give to God first. And the moment that we did that, the moment we said, God, it's yours, it's the moment we began to see freedom in our life. We began to see God bless us over and over and over again. My hope, church, is that you would see that as well. That if you're not currently open-handed with God, with your finances, with your time, with your effort, with your energy, with your sin, with your shame, with your guilt, with your pain, with your addiction, whatever it might be, that today might be a day that say, God, I'm surrendering to you. In fact, at all of our campuses today, we're going to sing basically that. God, would you make room? Would you make room? I'm making room for you to work in my life. We're going to sing about that all of our campuses today. And my hope and my prayer is that you would truly mean the words, God, come and do something that only you can do in me. Let's pray. God, I thank you. I thank you for today. I thank you for this story where we get to see that we've been entrusted with time, with energy, with effort, with resource. And God, there is going to be an audit where you're going to ask us, what do we do with that? How did we spend it? Was there a return of investment in it? God, allow us to learn the lessons of less. Allow us to be open-handed with our finances and our time and our energy to say, what would you have us do? God, we make room for you today. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
come, move, let justice roll on like a river. Let worship turn into revival. Lord, lead us back to you. And when you move, the outcast finds a family. And when you move, the orphan finds a home. Lord, here we are. Oh, teach us to love mercy with humble hearts. We bow down at your throne. So come move, let justice roll on like a river. Let worship turn into revival. Lord, lead us back to you. Oh, so come, let justice roll on like a river. Let worship turn into revival. Lord, lead us back to you. King of all generations, let every tongue and nation surrender all to you alone, all to Jesus. King of all generations, let every tongue and nation surrender all to you alone, to you alone. So come, let justice roll on like a river. Let worship turn into revival. Lord, lead us back to you. Oh, so come, let justice roll on like a river. Let worship turn into revival. Lord, lead us back to you. King of all generations, let every tongue and nation surrender all to you alone. King of all generations, let every tongue and nation surrender all to you alone, to you alone. So come, let justice roll on like a river. Let worship turn into revival. Lord, lead us back to you. Lead us back to you. Amen. Thank you so much for worshiping with us. Go ahead and have a seat, and we're going to celebrate last week's baptisms.
Well, thanks so much for joining us today at Calvary. If you're a guest with us this morning, would you please head over to calvary.ch/guest and let us know that you were here this morning. We'd love to follow up with you, say hello, and maybe answer any questions you might have. And if you're a regular here at Calvary, we're so glad that you joined us this morning as well. And we always are just so grateful for you. And we want to invite you to be a part of supporting the ongoing work and the ministry of Calvary. Your gifts allow us to do what we do, the work that we do, the ministry we do, not just here locally, but around the world. So we're grateful for you. You can give online at any time at calvary.ch/give. And as Ryan mentioned earlier, later today, we have our all-in meeting here at our Bellevue South location. That'll be at 5 p.m. This evening. It's a great opportunity for you just to celebrate with us the great things that God is doing and to look ahead to what He's got planned for us. So we would love to see you there tonight, 5 o'clock here at Bellevue South. We are so grateful to have you here with us this morning. It's been great to worship alongside you. We look forward to doing this every week, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next week. Have a great week. We'll see you.